In numerology, the number 8 is ruled by Saturn, and a lot of recent events were coded by the number 8, including the death of Michelle Trachtenberg and Gene Hackman, as well as the death of Pope Francis, who died at the age of 88. The elites are clearly obsessed with the number 8 and the figure 8 itself. So Saturn rules the number 8 in numerology, and if you look at the word 8, it sounds a lot like 8. Saturn ate his own children. The snake ate its own tail. Homophones are very important. We have to remember that words are spells. And they always have to show us, the 8 is closely associated with eating, with consuming, with biting even. We have to remember that numbers are also symbols. Within the symbolism of the number 8, we can see the X. Twitter is now X, and we can also see the Christian cross, because the Christian cross is an X. So the Christian cross symbolizes the 4 Messiah tribes, and the early double cross in Christianity symbolizes the 8 Messiahs individually. So within the symbolism of the number 8, we can see the 4 Messiah tribes. And obviously the X is also the letter X, and also, the XX, the females, in biology. And we know that the elites are completely obsessed with the X, and they're also completely obsessed with Saturn, the planet, Saturn, the deity. We see, the symbolism everywhere. And 8 is a 4-way number, so it has a 4-way symmetry. Even when it's flipped, even when it's mirrored, it still remains the same. And the only other numbers that are, that remain the same are 0 and 1. So 8 is really special. It's a special number. And a horizontal figure 8 is the infinity symbol, which is used in mathematics to represent the concept of infinity. The loop of reincarnation. It's also called a limniscate. It's used in algebra, geometry, and even in livestock branding, they call it a lazy 8. Airplane pilots use the lazy 8 term to describe a maneuver where they loop up and down, up and down. It's the loop of infinity. It's the loop of reincarnation. VestaVision is a high-resolution film format. Of course, you have the 35. 3 plus 5 is 8. They're obsessed with the number 8, aren't they? We see it everywhere. And in the Santali language, the number 8 is written like that and has the infinity symbol in it. So they always have to show us. They can't even hide it. And in other languages, the number 8 looks like a serpent. Looks a lot like a serpent with a tail and everything. The infinity symbol is often used to represent the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. And we know that Saturn rules karma and reincarnation. And Saturn, aka Cronus, has been depicted as holding the Ouroboros. You guys can see in the middle, Saturn holding the Ouroboros. And according to Orphic mythology, that was like a mystery religion in ancient Greece and Rome. According to Orphic mythology, Saturn created the cosmic egg, which is known as the Orphic egg. And over here we have the cosmic Ouroboros. It's life eating itself. Eat or be eaten. And in the classical era, Aeon was the Hellenistic deity associated with cyclical time, unbounded cyclical time, the zodiac. So unlike Cronus, who represented linear time, This eon deity represented the idea that the future is a returning version of the past. So the Ouroboros represents the idea that the snake eating its tail is cyclical time. It's not linear. So we can see that this eon figure is holding the zodiac. He controls the zodiac, which is cyclical. It's not linear. In the Kabbalah, the number 8 is the Hud, which represents Mercury. It's Mercury. So Mercury is also associated with the number 8. It's not just Saturn. In alchemy, Mercury is associated with number 8. In the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, the first card is the Magician. Mercury is the Magician. He has the infinity symbol over his head, and his belt is basically in the shape of the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. The 8th card is, it's strength, so it also has the infinity symbol. Mercury is the magician. He is the spellcaster. He casts spells using language, using words, because words are spells. Languages are used to control us. They manipulate us. So Mercury is the ultimate spellcaster. He is the trickster. He's the messenger. And his wand, his staff, the staff of Hermes, is the caduceus. It's also in the shape of the figure 8, obviously, because Mercury is also, closely related to the figure 8. The element Mercury has an atomic number of 80, and 1 day on Mercury equals 88 days on Earth. Solar days, solar years, obviously. And every 116 days, Mercury starts its synodic cycle, where it passes between the Earth and the Sun. So it goes between the Earth and the Sun every 116 days. 116 in numerology is 8. 8 is doubling the 8. Mercury, the element, has an atomic number of 8. In the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, Mercury is 8. In the Tarot decks, Mercury is 8. So Mercury is closely linked to the number 8. Mercury rules all aspects of communication. He rules transport. He rules travel. He also rules technology and intelligence. He rules the mind. Mercury represents duality, so Gemini, the twins, duality. So Mercury is our active intelligence. It's our mind, it's our logic, it's our reasoning, it's the, all the learning abilities, it's spoken and written communication, it's travel. Mercury rules even trade and commercial activities. Commerce in general is ruled by Mercury. And Mercury is also the transmitter of the spiritual to the material. He acts as a neutral transmitter. He's like an antenna. He receives information from all dimensions of reality, including signals from other planets. Mercury tries to make the unconscious conscious. He rules the mind, the brain, and the nervous system, and even the lower rational mind, the intellect, and also he processes all the information, all the signals from, external sources and even internal sources. Mercury rules the nervous system and the neurological system. So Mercury makes all forms of input, like sensory input, possible. So he gathers information through our 5 senses. And the 5 senses interact with the brain through the nervous system. So Mercury rules the 5 senses, sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. So without Mercury, we wouldn't be able to see, we wouldn't be able to hear, to touch, taste, or smell. Mercury is like the antenna. The senses can be inward or outward. And Mercury is the one gathering the information from our environment, and he uses our senses internally to gather information as well as externally. So, our thoughts create our reality. So, Mercury is manifestation. He controls manifestation. We know that we are the creators of our reality. Our mind controls our reality, our destiny, everything. So, Mercury is the neutral transmitter. Our mind simply receives information, but Mercury also, it represents our free will. So the physical manifestation of Mercury is our mind, and it's also our free will. Because Mercury is the messenger, it's the magician, but he doesn't control us. He merely transmits the information. So Mercury represents the power of free will. And Mercury in numerology is 5. It rules the letters H and X. H is the 8th letter in the Latin alphabet, and X, it can be found in the symbolism of the number 8. 2 to the power of 3, 2 cubed is 8. But 2 plus 3 is 5. That's why Mercury is 5 in numerology. So we have to remember that humans are given the faculties of consciousness and free will. We have the ability to shape our reality. We have the ability to shape what we allow to impact us. We have the power to manipulate the 4 elements of matter as we choose. And we don't choose to, use this divine power consciously and directly, then we are going to be directed by the unconscious thought forms and actions. So if we don't make the unconscious conscious, then the unconscious will control us, basically. Carl Jung talked about that a lot. And Mercury rules everything that distinguishes humans from animals. Even our arms and our hands, which really allow us to manipulate our reality. So Mercury gives humans the capacity to be conscious conduits, connectors for energy and knowledge from higher dimensions. Mercury receives information from all dimensions of reality, including signals from all the other planets. So Mercury transmits the information, but he isn't the source of information. He's more neutral. He is the neutral, the messenger. He is the messenger. So the goal of the human journey and all spiritual paths is to move from the unconsciousness to the consciousness. Saturn teaches us that it's not an easy journey. Saturn teaches us that it's going to be hard. There are going to be rules and everything, limits, structures. Whereas Mercury teaches us that it can be fun. Mercury is all about experimentation. So if we approach life from the perspective of experimentation and detachment, then we won't take everything so personally and seriously. So Mercury is trying to teach us to not take everything so personally, so seriously. Mercury is all about, detachment and experimentation. The letter H is the 8th letter in the Latin alphabet, and originally it was written in the shape of the number 8. It also looked like a serpent in the early stages. So that's why 8 is the letter H. And yet in numerology, the letter H is ruled by 5. It's ruled by the number 5. It's ruled by Mercury, which is 5. It's not 8. It's not Saturn. I think that both Mercury and Saturn are 2 sides of the same coin. They are, the duality. So the Ouroboros, the infinity symbol, the endless loop of reincarnation, the analemma, Saturn eating his own children, the snake eating its own tail. It's not just Saturn, it's also Mercury. Because Mercury rules everything in our reality, our mind, our thoughts, our technology, our communication, our transport, our intelligence, our intellect, even our commercial activities, the trade that we do. Mercury rules duality. Mercury rules every facet of communication. And even travel. Mercury rules travel and technology. So Mercury rules this world. Saturn sets the rules, the timelines, the structure, whereas Mercury is the actual ruler, because our minds, our thoughts create our reality. We can't underestimate the power of Mercury. Without our thoughts, without our mind, we wouldn't be humans. We wouldn't be fully conscious. We'd just be like, animals. And we have to remember that, we see the number 8 everywhere when it comes to Mercury. It's not just in the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life. It's everywhere. It's not just in the tarot decks. It's even in chemistry. It's even in Mercury's solar orbit, 88 days on Earth, and the synodic cycle, 116 days, which is 8 in numerology. In the Hermetic lots, the spirit of Mercury is Ananke. Ananke was present at the creation of the universe as an incorporeal serpent that cracked the egg of creation with her partner Cronus. Cronus is Saturn. So once they cracked the egg, they created heaven, earth, and the sea, and they circled the cosmos to drive time forward. So drive time forward as in linear time, obviously. So Mercury doesn't just break things in the way that Mars does. Mercury disassembles them piece by piece. So that's also linked to, the idea of threshing grain. Grain is often closely linked to Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So it's the idea to separate out the edible part by removing the inedible part. So it's the idea of processing things. And we see the figure 8 everywhere, even the DNA double helix and the mobius strip and even the hourglass symbol. So Grimes on Twitter has the hourglass symbol next to her name, and she has the DNA double helix as well. So these so-called elites, they're obsessed with the number 8, the figure 8. And the analemma is also in the figure 8. The analemma is the loop of reincarnation. It's the sun's position each day, like every day of the year. And it allows us to determine local mean time. So it's the equation of time. The analemma is the equation of time. It's, the linear time. We use the analemma to determine local mean time. And the analemma basically shows the sun's position from a fixed location every day of the year. It has to be in the figure 8 because, the endless loop of reincarnation is always in the figure 8. The snake eating its own tail, Saturn eating his own children. And this, the analemma is also used to depict the different seasons. Winter and spring are Saturn, whereas fall and summer are Mercury. It's the duality of the seasons. Mercury and Saturn are the duality, basically. And we see the analemma everywhere. Even the Virgin Media logo has the analemma symbol. And in Gnosticism, Ogdoad was used to, it was really important because they used it to show us the different heavens. So we're told that there are 7 heavens and an 8th sphere where the ultimate creator lived, Sophia. And we're also told, in some myths, they told us that the eighth sphere represents the pleroma, the ultimate non-dual heaven, where we all came from, basically. So the seven heavens, the seven planetary spheres, are the seven archons, whereas the eighth sphere is the primordial ultimate creator entity. The Ogdoad in ancient Egypt were 8 primordial deities who were worshipped at the Dendera temple, Hermopolis, basically. So the female, they were arranged in 4 male to female pairs, syzygies. The female figures had serpent heads, whereas the male figures had frog heads. In Japanese mythology, they have a legendary 8-headed and 8-tailed serpent that's still worshipped today. So the number 8, the figure 8, is always associated with, serpents, reptilians, serpents. I personally don't think that serpents are snakes. They look like snakes, but it's not that simple. In the book of Revelation, we're told that, we see the Alpha and Omega, I am the Alpha and Omega phrase. It's found in chapter 1, verse 8, obviously, because Alpha is 1 and Omega is 8. Omega is the last letter in the Greek alphabet. In the Greek numeric system and gematria, Omega has a value of 800, which is 8 in numerology. In the system of Greek numerals, pi has a value of 80, which is 8 in numerology. Pi, as in the circle, circumference. So, I am the Alpha and the Omega phrase is found in every manuscript of Revelation that has 1 to 8. We see the 8s everywhere, even in the blackjack basic strategy, splitting aces and 8s. In nuclear physics, 8 is the second magic number. In technology, a byte is 8 bits. So the snake bit its own tail. Byte. That's why 1 byte is 8 bits. In standard pianos, there are 88 keys. In astronomy, there are 88 constellations, officially recognized by the International Astronomical Union. And we're told that there are 8.8 billion habitable Earth-sized planets in the Milky Way alone. And we see the 8 everywhere, even in movies and shows. It's especially the 88. It's usually linked to time travel, 9/11, and the twins, the duality, the yin yang. Trump has also been linked to the 88 and 9/11. Mercury rules time travel, so the 88 is also linked to time travel. Mercury rules travel, transport, technology. It's interesting. And even, the Trump figure, Donald Trump, the president, he has been closely linked to Gemini twins, the duality. And we know that Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury represents duality. So we see all of these subliminal messages, all of these hidden messages in a lot of media and a lot of entertainment, especially the movies and the television, even television shows as well. So 88 is everywhere. They love doubling the 8. Even in the Back to the Future's trilogy, the car had to go 88 miles per hour, and they went to the future. The date itself, 2015, the full date added up to 8 in numerology. And when they went back to 1985, it was October 26th, 26 is 8 in numerology. So the 8s are everywhere in Back to the Future. And I think that Back to the Future foreshadowed a lot of events, even 9/11. And 88 is also linked to nuclear weapons. So it's not just time travel, it's also nuclear weapons, and also Sirius the Dog Star. So everything is connected. They don't even hide it.